Hello, everyone. Today we are going to talk about finding your teaching niche, and this is Amazing Life. Thank you all for joining us. Um, this is me, Polina Wingloska. I am your usual host. And as you've already understood, what we're going to talk about is narrowing down what you specialize in teaching. So if you feel like you teach everything to everyone and that's not getting you anywhere, this live is definitely for you. Um, First of all, let me say what Amazer.uk is, because this is what we are working with here. Amazer.uk is a digital workspace for educators and students as well. You can browse through thousands of ready to use materials. You can create your own materials, customize everything, and share them with your students. There are a lot of self checking interactive exercises that can be created on the platform. And it's such a fantastic tool to boost student autonomy, engagement, and in general, it just eases everything because you keep everything in one place. So try Mazer.uk. And back to me. So, talking about teaching niches, our guest today is Rachel Williams. Rachel is a former NHS nurse and she is now a medical English consultant. She has been working for more than 15 years helping medical professionals improve their communication skills, LinkedIn presence. And that's the main focus she has today, working with improving visibility for medical professionals and utilizing different AI tools and other things to help them gain more career opportunities and in general visibility. And today, Rachel is going to help us understand how you can find your own teaching niche, how you can work with this visibility of yours, and how to find the right clients, and many other things. So let's welcome Rachel. Hi,
Hi.
how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Polina. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for coming. So, before we even get into talking about all these little things, we have some people watching already, I'm sure. So let's ask this question, or we'll just pull it up and we will keep it here, so just for us to understand what kind of people we have today and what kind of problems we're working with. So, for those who is watching us, can you choose one or several of the four numbers here? What describes you as a teacher best? So, do you teach everything to everyone? Do you mostly teach English for specific purposes, which is business English, medical English, or something like that? Do you prepare for international exams, which is a part of ESP, but we put it aside? And do you already have a specific, very specific niche? So choose one of the four and write that in the comment section, please. In the meanwhile, Rachel, can you tell us a little bit about your career journey? How did you get from being a nurse to being a medical English specialist and now even like specializing in improving doctors' visibility and LinkedIn presence?
Okay. My goodness me, that's a I'm gonna try and squeeze that in. Okay. So
Give us a brief account, please.
a really, really brief account. Okay. So for quite a long time I balanced two jobs. I was teaching for adult education, English to English people, and I was a nurse. And at some point I went, I'm gonna go and do a CELTA course. I did it. At the end, they said, "Oh, did you know that there's a speciality medical English?"
Yeah.
Like, nope.
Okay.
So, no idea. And then the first school I went to, they said, "Oh, we do medical English here," and I went, "No, no, thank you. I've left that behind. I'm not doing healthcare. I want to just do teaching." Then their regular teacher was off sick, and
Yeah.
I covered. And I taught this young ER doctor from the Czech Republic who was just lovely. We clicked. The
Okay.
chemistry was there. Just everything. I just thought, oh, I can help.
Yeah.
So so I ended up teaching medical English anyway, even though I thought I was going to leave healthcare behind.
I have a very similar experience with teaching in general.
Okay.
I thought I would never be a teacher. Here, well,
Ah,
here we are. Here we are.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's great that you found your calling because not everybody does. It's a privilege, I think, to find your calling.
Yeah. And it was, to a degree, it's sort of, I mean, that's easy for me because at least I didn't have to learn a whole new vocabulary. I did move into aviation English for a while, which did
Oh,
mean learning a new vocabulary and language testing. And when I first came onto LinkedIn, I think my banner was like, literally, I do aviation, language testing, I teach medical English to nurses and doctors. And yeah, that worked not. Right. This should be a session on what not to do. Okay, I can give you a list of how not to do LinkedIn and how not to market yourself.
so even though you did have a niche, you had several, right?
And I
And
tried
you
to, yeah, and I tried to flog them all.
okay, did it like you stretched yourself too thin in a way there?
You can't, who are you writing to?
Yeah.
Who are you engaging with? Who are you having conversations with?
Yeah.
Your content doesn't resonate with anyone if you're trying to, yeah, which I took a while to learn.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the hard way.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so I slowly niched. It took me a while. Slowly niched down.
Yeah.
Bit by bit, the other ones disappeared.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at some of the answers we have. So
Okay.
we have teaching mainly business English to adults.
Okay.
Okay, yes, that's a niche. And then we also have support international medical graduates in UK. Very similar to your niche. Okay.
Yeah.
It's still also working with.
I know Hannah. Hi,
Yeah.
Hannah. Right. There we go. She's the coolest doctor on LinkedIn. Right. So yeah,
Okay.
give her, if anybody's here, give her a follow. So yeah. Yeah. So
Okay. Then, basically, you narrowed it down to working with strictly medical professionals, right? Okay.
yeah.
And then, recently, how recent that was, you narrowed it even further.
Yeah. And I'm still going to narrow further. We're not there yet, but
Okay.
probably around maybe October last year or so. So all my clients I get from LinkedIn. It's my main platform.
Mhm.
So, and then a couple of them were saying, "Oh, I'd really like to write. I've got some ideas. I want to post, but I'm a little bit too scared. I'm worried what people are going to think of me if I do this."
Yeah.
So I started helping them, and we started creating some posts together. And one of them managed to get a couple of recruiters came to her afterwards, offered her a position. She's just started.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I can make a difference here as well.
Okay.
And I can also, I don't want doctors to be scared of sharing their wonderful expertise. And this platform can feel a little bit corporate sometimes and a little bit dry. And
It really does.
yeah. But actually you can be a bit quirky, you can be yourself, and you will get connections. And I think you make better connections that way, but it took me a while to realize.
Yeah.
And
so she basically inspired you to
yeah,
start helping doctors with the way they engage with the audience. Okay. An interesting question that is a bit unrelated, but why do doctors need to do that?
We could probably ask Hannah that, who's in our audience. Okay.
She says hi, by the way.
Oh, that's nice. She's lovely. So for many, many reasons. So one, for if you're going for a job these days, often people will go and look at your LinkedIn profile.
Okay. Yeah.
So have something presentable, engaging, and show maybe your intelligence and your engagement with the medical community. And it's quite a big community on LinkedIn. There's this one. The other one is that some of them offer services. So there's lots of doctors that have gone into sort of coaching services or private practice. I think there's one of the doctors that's doing breathing exercises and he offers breathing classes. So they use it as a platform where they can market their skills as well.
Okay.
So for both, yeah. And also just to sometimes just to connect with each other and share sort of experience about what's going on. But yeah, we can ask Hannah what she posts on. She can comment in a minute what she posts on LinkedIn. So yeah.
Yes, Hannah, please share.
Yes. Yeah. So she
In the
does.
in the meantime, I have another the next question that I think is as a teacher, right? So for you, it was sort of natural. It was a natural transition from one thing to another, and then to this next step. And you say you're going to narrow it down even further. I don't know how you can do that. I'm sure you can.
Yeah.
But how do you identify? How do you even identify your niche? Like, how do you know? Well, this is what I should work with.
Good question. Yeah, good question. I think it's going to help if you know something about the subjects that you're going to teach. Because if not, you're going to have to learn about it.
Yeah.
You cannot just go, oh, this would be fun.
Yeah.
If you want to move into sort of medical English, there are some courses out there. There's Roz, who's an author. She does a clinical communications skills course, which I think would be quite useful. I think my opinion is that you at least need to know basic anatomy, because if the doctor gets it, if the doctor's language isn't, if English isn't their first language, and they get it wrong, you need to know whether it's right or wrong.
Do you have an example of that? It's just a bit hard for me to imagine how can a doctor get it wrong in a way. I don't know. Do you?
Yeah. So it's maybe not anatomy, not so much. Although a lot of our Latin doctors will use the Latin terms.
Yeah.
So they would say to the patient, "Oh, you've got a problem with your femur," and the patient's going to go, "What's a femur?" So we need to give them layman's terms.
That's
so
true.
You as the medical English teacher would have to say, yeah, maybe when you're talking to the patient, you might not use. There we go. Hannah's given us some posterior, lateral terms like that. They're just not. The patients are not going to know.
Yeah, that's true.
And you need to be able to say to them, no, we need here are some layman's terms for those things. So myocardial infarction. Tell them that their father's had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Okay. So but there are quite a lot. So a little bit of basic anatomy and a little bit of physiology, or choose one speciality. So choose orthopedic surgeons and then just learn the bones.
Okay. So basically, this answers one of the questions that a lot of people have about choosing the niche. Do you have to be an expert in that niche? Or because as a teacher, this is basically like CLIL, right? That's a question I always have. Do you have to know as much as your student will? No, but you have to have some kind of at least basic knowledge of what you're talking about and what you're teaching about.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it depends which sort of area you're teaching in. So there's an occupational English test, which is an exam. And to do that, you probably don't need a lot of any medical knowledge at all. You could just you could take the OET training, and you could teach doctors and nurses to pass that exam. What gets a little bit more difficult is I often get my doctors go, oh, I want to actually send an SBAR report to another doctor. So it's a situation, background assessment and plan. And request, and I want to do it in that form to another doctor. So now I'm going to use medical language because it's another doctor.
Yeah.
I don't think I would feel comfortable if I'd had no background to be doing
Okay.
that bit with them. And even when I've got a cardiac surgeon at the moment, and there's a lot of me going, Alex, you've lost me there,
Hmm.
because cardiology is not my background.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you
yeah,
have to also be potentially like be ready to be vulnerable in that way. You don't know everything there, and when you teach a certain niche, sometimes you have to ask your student to for them to share their expertise. You have to be like,
100%. Yeah, you're. Yeah, just like any doctor would not know all the other specialities.
yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Well, then there is I think, a thin line between, asking all the time and, I don't know
Mm,
this, I don't know that. You have to know something because you are teaching
yeah.
them that.
Yes.
Okay, okay. And with that, I think we can talk about this.
Mhm.
Sorry, different question. Yeah, this one. Um, I understand that a lot of people will have certain fears with
Mhm.
connected to working with a specific niche. So if you haven't chosen your niche yet, if you haven't narrowed it down, if you still work with this and this and this and that, even if you have several, right? What stops you from narrowing it down? And maybe we can address these issues. Maybe we can address
Mhm.
these questions. So write one or several of the following or your own problem that you feel that you have with it. So the first one is fear of limiting opportunities. By that we mean basically you will get less clients, right?
Mhm.
Fewer,
Yeah.
sorry. I always tell my students, oh, you don't use less with countable, and I do, and
Which is,
it's recorded now for everyone.
that's okay. We are allowed to be human, Paulina, and make
I
mistakes.
I know. Right.
Yeah.
So the fear of getting fewer clients because when you narrow
Yeah.
down, right, you cut off
Mm.
some of the people.
Yeah.
Number two, not sure which niche to choose, right? So,
Mm.
I don't know. Worry about competition. Have you had that? Have you ever worried about competition?
No, there are. I looked. There's something like 600,000 doctors on LinkedIn or more. Yeah,
All right. Okay.
and there's one of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And number four, uncertain about market demand. So
Mhm.
basically,
Yeah. Did Ames put in there so many business sectors that it's hard to focus on just one?
yeah. Yeah, and
But
let's see. We
my,
also have one previous comment that we haven't had. So, as I had had a long experience of the business sector, it was a way to share my knowledge about corporate work, but it's always a challenge to keep up to date on different industry sectors. That's one
mm,
other thing for sure. The vocabulary evolves so quickly, it certainly helps to be an, just a moment, where was it? It helps to be an expert. However, I have taught people working in the nuclear power sector, for example, and I let my learner teach me. Right. So in certain areas, of course, you can't be an expert. We can know some basic
yeah,
vocabulary. With others, you do need to keep up to date with what's going on, especially business sector. I think
yeah,
that's true.
yeah.
And then yes, so she also says there are so many business sectors that it's hard to focus on just one. How do you choose?
It is.
What do you
I
think about it?
Okay, I would say that for your, and I don't know, you might be doing brilliantly on LinkedIn and all you, because without looking, I don't know. And your content might be getting mass engagement. If it's not, I would say narrow down. Other people can still come in and say, oh, do you work with me? I'm not quite your niche, but would you consider working with me, because I really like how you've put that across. And that happens.
Hmm.
And that happens frequently, and much more since the more I niche down, the more opportunities I've got.
Okay.
So,
So even though you talk about only specific thing, right?
mhm,
People from neighboring niches, so to say,
yeah,
will still see your
yeah,
expertise, will still be interested, and they will come to you and they will ask you. That does not
yeah.
cut off the potential
No,
clients.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
And it sort of helped me because I've moved away from just sort of having that tribe of teachers. And I would think now within LinkedIn, my tribe is more, there's a lot of medical writers
Mm-hmm.
that I connect with because I learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my posts are probably lots of mostly doctors connecting from them and medical writers as well, a few dentists, and some nurses as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And but how do you know that? So we also have number 4 here, right? Uncertain about market demand. If you narrow it too much, how do you know that there are people who need it?
Okay. Ooh, good
We are
question.
getting to
Yeah, we
serious
are
stuff
getting
here.
into
That-
the, yeah, but there's usually, when you've got something really, really niche, then you might not be selling to lots of people, but what you're selling to is maybe a smaller group of people, but they all want that because it's solving that particular problem.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Do
then
you know those weird things that you go to look on Amazon for because you've got something in the house that's not quite working? You're like, oh, it must exist. And you get there and you find it and you're like, because that person's had the same problem
uh-huh.
and they've gone, oh, there's no solution for this, so I'll create it.
Yeah.
And then somebody else comes along with the same problem and goes, oh, look, somebody's already fixed it for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also think that you can actually, when choosing your own niche,
Mm.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can also work backwards. So people will come to you with a specific question. Maybe you, before you narrow down completely, if you work with like business English in general, like you get a client who has a very particular question. I don't know. Hard for me to say, but maybe public speaking, let's say,
Yeah.
right? Presenting, or why not talk about pitching ideas to investors? Why not
Yes.
that? Right. And then you have a client who has that problem, but they also have a lot of other startuppers, right? They also have a lot of friends who do startups. So
Yeah.
they revolve in the same kind
Yeah.
of pot, all of them.
Yeah.
You help this person solve
Yes.
this particular problem, they can recommend you to another person, and this
Mm-hmm.
find these opportunities with your clients, with the requests they bring to you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think it's just as Polina. It's about solving the problem and being the person that's there to solve that problem. But sometimes it takes a while to work out what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also choose something that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Because you do not want to choose a niche that might maybe get you lots and lots of money and lots of clients, but you have to spend every day working with people you don't want to work with.
And then you burn out, and
Yeah,
then you have to
yeah,
take a hiatus for a year,
yes, yeah,
and then it's all for nothing.
yeah. So yeah. And as I say, once you work out your niche, you can have the conversations that you're going to need to so that you connect with people.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Okay, okay.
We've done
Um,
that one.
yeah. And then we already started talking about
Mm.
clients, talking with clients. And
Mm.
I really like one idea that you talked about earlier, probably privately to me, but we have to share. You
Sorry.
said that you see a lot of teachers on LinkedIn
Mm.
engaging with other teachers a
Yeah.
lot, right? And you think this is not the way to do it.
I think it's if that's 90% of your time on the platform is spent engaging with other teachers, then no. So I think you do need, if you once you choose a niche, you need to engage with them
Yeah.
because you need to learn what they need. You need to be seen as their expert.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be posting things that they are going to find interesting and useful.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's right. This is so you need to think who you're writing for.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. There is that little tip that they almost write you before you post. You write "Dear someone" at the top, and then you remove it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I could write. So Dr. Shub, he's in the audience if he's still there, because I know he's going off to do his own session in a minute. But I could write "Dear Shubs," and then I could write the post. And then I can remove Dear Shubs. And I know that if I've written to him, that there would be other doctors that would also go, oh, okay. And actually, he's been really good. We have sessions, and one of my posts last week, was all about writing things like not using too many adverbs, not using too many gerunds, not using too many delexicalized verbs. And it came about because he said, what's a delexicalized verb, Rachel? I told him, and he went, oh, you should post that. And I went, okay. And I did. And again, I got lots of engagement. So we can bring our English language teaching and present it to the people that still need it. But what I do is then all the examples were medical ones.
Yeah. Just like you do in the lesson with these people.
Everything's medical.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. All right. So you have to find the potential clients. And you also talked about DMing them.
Yeah.
That can be scary. I don't know. How do you approach a person? What do you write to them?
Okay. So I do a sort of a hi. I see that you work in this field. I've worked in healthcare in the past. We have a common. Maybe there's somebody that we already are connected with. So we have a mutual acquaintance. So would you like to connect? And then, easy as that. And then have a conversation with them. Now, this is another thing that I didn't do. I used to just send blank connection requests, and then they connect, and then I'd ignore them. It's a little bit like inviting someone for a cup of tea and then
virtual coffee on LinkedIn. Love it. I do it all the time.
Yeah, so have virtual coffees. At least have a conversation. If you ask someone to connect, at least say hello. Hi, thank you if you send a connection request, say thank you. If they take the time to click yes, say thank you. And then have that conversation, which is probably how I got to know a lot of the doctors that I have conversations with. And that I think last year they used to have LinkedIn audios. And I used to run those every sort of 2 weeks. I would get a doctor on to talk about their experience, their journey, maybe from their country to England.
Is it similar to what we're doing now, but on
audio? But LinkedIn have removed it. So unfortunately, we have to do lives now, which is my least favourite.
Sorry for dragging you.
It's much easier on a bad hair day, isn't it, to do an audio than doing this?
You have to do your hair, you have to do your makeup, you have to.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do a pajama live where we connect from our beds and we just talk.
You can do the one where you can just show the screen and you can still do it as audio, but no.
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I would say get uncomfortable. Yeah. Because chatting to the teachers and responding to their posts and writing posts that the other teachers are going to like is a very comfortable place to be. And I had to go for a bit of a dip. So I stopped writing for teachers where I had lots of engagement, lots of responses, stopped doing that, wrote more for the doctors that I wanted to work with. Big drop in engagement and sort of, and then, and I lived with that. And then started getting out there and going, responding, commenting, and writing things that I thought, oh my God, this is a bit scary, but what's the worst that can happen if you post something? Okay, nobody likes it. Wow, get over it, get back on the next day.
Better.
And get better. Yeah. So, Oh, Dr. How this is meant to be for teachers. We're going to have to kick all the doctors off. So Dr. Ross is really cool. He is brave and he posts zombie cartoons on LinkedIn.
Oh,
So
that's
LinkedIn
nice.
is not
I'll check
boring.
Yeah, you have to keep your own personality there because it's
Yeah,
really hard to lose it and all the corporate thing. Yeah, be yourself, be
yeah,
brave, knock on people's
yeah.
profiles.
Yeah, no, too. And they're all people, most people are really nice. If you're polite, if you don't go into a DM and do not go into a DM and go, "Hi, I'm a medical English teacher. Would you like, your English improving?" They're going to go, "No," because that's an insult. Okay. But hi, it's like, "Hi, I'm Rachel. I saw something that you posted. I really liked it. Would you like to connect?"
Right. Don't immediately
And
start selling something.
no,
Let
no,
them
that's
come to
awful.
you.
Yeah, definitely. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so
We are
that's
sort of running out of time, unfortunately.
okay.
There are many things I also wanted to talk about, but I think we will just resolve to one very quick, and that's building your brand.
Unless we wanted to, any questions, anybody,
Yes.
before we
Yes.
go
If
as
you have any
well, throw
questions,
them in and we might get to answer them. Building your brand. Oh my God.
and we also have
This
a
is,
very nice message from Dida.
nice. Building your brand. This is another way I could tell you how not to do this because if, yes, I want to get all of my old LinkedIn banners up, which I've kept. And there was one where it had aeroplanes and stethoscopes because I did both the aviation and the medical. Which is
It reminds me of 2007 hipster branding, where you would have, sort of
yeah,
like a heraldic
yeah,
four things, and there you have scissors, a
yeah,
beard, I don't know, an
yeah,
owl, and a
yeah.
deer.
I was trying to be one of these, the bicycle shops, which is actually a cake shop and a barber's all in one.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I was trying to be that.
yeah.
And
An orchestra man, or what do they call them? A person playing many instruments at
oh
once.
yes, yes,
One person
exactly.
orchestra, one person.
Yeah, I was trying to do that. It doesn't work. So, so definitely build your brand with the person in mind. Who are you helping, and then go backwards that way.
Mhm.
And even my last week, I got somebody to come and do an audit on my LinkedIn. Now I audit doctors' LinkedIn's, but I got somebody to audit mine, and they were like, "No, there's bits that just weren't clear enough." So I was like, "Okay, good," because you need somebody else's eyes sometimes to see what you can't see.
Yeah,
Do you know when
that's
you?
true. We
Do you know
develop
when
this
you?
blindness.
Yeah, of course. You know when you read something about 10 times and it's like it looks great, and you go to post it. Well, this morning somebody went, "You've got there in it twice." It's like,
Oh,
no. So again, you can't. You just sometimes you just can't see your own, you know, problems. So
that's
get another set of eyes on your problem. Yeah,
true.
a bit like going to the doctor.
Yeah, yeah,
You can
that's
self-diagnose yourself, can't you? With with the internet these days, but you might get it wrong. So go and see a doctor if you're really worried. So
true.
again, if you're worried about your LinkedIn profile and you think it looks great, fine, ask somebody else to have a look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as for teachers, right, if we talk about specifically like
Yeah.
teachers who are niching, who are narrowing it all down,
Yeah.
um, one of the problems that this can also cause, and we haven't talked about that at all today, is the lack of materials that you can use for
Mhm.
teaching, right? And obviously, what I always say is that find a place where you can develop your own materials and keep them in one place. And Maisie is a great place for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've been using Maisie,
I do.
and
Yeah.
you have a fantastic profile on Maisie where you publish the materials for medical English
Yeah.
teachers, and you can actually scan the QR code and take a look at Rachel's
Ah,
profile.
wow. Cool. Yeah. I think this was because there was a problem that there was very little C1 and C2 for our non-teachers out there, that sort of high advance, and C2 would be equivalent to native English level. There were very few resources out there for the
Yeah.
students that I was teaching. So what I did is I went into the doctors that I have relationships with on LinkedIn,
Mhm.
and I stole parts of their podcasts mostly. And Yeah. So
Genius.
actually, looking at all of these, I know that they are, they're from different podcasts or different programs
Yeah,
that are medical programs as well. And
that's
then
amazing.
created them so that there was something that people that really, really need to understand that fast spoken, nuanced, difficult English could improve with. And so that's what I did.
Amazing. And what you can do as a teacher then, you can display this, show this to your potential clients, because then they know that you have the materials, you know that they know you have the expertise to teach them
Yeah.
first and foremost. And also you increase the value of your work this way. And this is just one part of your brand. This can be one part of your brand.
Yeah.
All right, then. I think we have to finish.
Yeah.
We have run out of time.
We have
I
run out
could
of
keep
time.
talking. You have so many great
Okay.
ideas.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that any of them are the right one, because there are lots of different people will give different advice.
True,
Um,
true. But
but
if you
my,
are interested in what
yeah.
Rachel has to say, here is a QR code to go to her LinkedIn profile, and you
Oh,
can
is it?
connect to
Okay.
her and ask more questions if you have. And you also mentioned a group you thought you could organize.
Yeah, I was just saying, if there were teachers that were still sort of struggling to think about that, getting visible on LinkedIn, and somebody today messaged me going, "Oh, could I help?" I thought, if there was a small group of teachers that wanted to pick my brains, wanted to work out, how not to go wrong, um, and then I would be happy to put together a little group so they can
So drop Rachel a
just,
message,
yes, yeah.
and maybe something can be organized and she can share more of her expertise. But you have already unleashed so much knowledge in us today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. It was really, really, very enjoyable spending the time with you, Polina.
Same here. Same here. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon on LinkedIn. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
So, thank you so much, Rachel, one more time. And thank everyone for coming to this live session. We also have a Maisie conference coming up very soon at the end of February, on the 23rd of February. It's going to be Sunday. And we have some amazing speakers here: Rachel Roberts, Nina Hanakova, me, and Theodora Thomas. So, we are going to talk about business side of English, how to scale, how to increase your revenue, how to earn more with good pricing, how to change your financial mindset, because we have a lot of these little things that we've been taught since childhood that just create an obstacle for us to get more money. How to start your own teaching business. That's what I'm going to talk about. If you completely don't know what to do and you're scared of leaving the school you work for or the platform you work for, where do you begin? That's what I'm going to talk about. And also digital marketing for educators, how to get the message across. So register for the Maisie conference. That's going to happen on the 23rd of February on Sunday. Okay, so with this, we finish, and I hope to see all of you soon. Thank you so much